Got our Branson t-shirts on.
His and hers.
His and hers.
I'll take you with yours. Just like same size and everything.
Yep.
How about that? Same size.
Yeah. I think she loves me. She bought me a shirt.
Oh, what'd you do? Is it still going? Okay. Oh, we're way up too close. Let me scoot us back. All right. Okay, there's Forrest. Now I'll zoom in on him. We're getting ready to go down to Mutton Hollow and around. It looks like it's going to rain up here. And then we're going to go to, let's see, we've got tickets for the hop tonight. And then tomorrow we're going
Let's go do the hop. Let's go do the hop.
I think it's called Let's Go to the Hop. He wants to go do the hop. He wants to do the bunny hop. Anyway, they put on a real good show. We're going to see it tonight. And then tomorrow, I guess we'll spend all day at Silver Dollar City. And then we'll go home Sunday. We got matching t-shirts from Walmart a while ago. His and hers. And we both wear the same size now. Isn't that something? 85 pounds lighter I am. Okay, I guess we'll go to Mutton Hollow then. Here's the camper. He's got the awning out. We set out the chairs. We didn't get in here until about... What time did we get here, hon? About 2 o'clock this morning? Something like that?
I thought it was about 12 when we pulled in.
Oh, was it? Oh, I was
we
thinking...
didn't go to bed, though.
No, I didn't go to sleep till about 5:30.
It was 10 after 12 when we pulled in.
Oh, is that what time it was? Well, time we found the camping spot and got turned around a few times.
Yeah, probably about 12:34 to 1.
Okay. I'll turn it off. We'll go down Mutton Hollow now. There we go. We're getting ready to go in here to Mutton Hollow. They've changed all this now. Now they're calling it Branson, USA, and they've made a big, like a big carnival. They've got trail rides over here, if I can zoom in on it, wherever the zoomer is. See if I can zoom in on it. No. Let's see, there's somebody walking across. Yeah, I can zoom in. There's the horses. Okay. See if I can get for it. Ooh, boy, is that a close-up. There we go. Are you going to fly away like an eagle? Okay. Let's go over here and just see if they're open. This used to be Mutton Hollow down here. Oh, you got to take the camcorder case. That's where my money and all my stuff's at. I didn't bring my purse. I was trying to make it as light as possible. This looks like Dewey Bald back here. I think they call this Dewey Bald for Sammy Lane and Jim Lane's cabin was up here.
You got the time, I got the money.
You sure do. You got all my money in there. Here, I left my purse back in the thing and locked it up so I wouldn't have to fool with it, carrying it around. Put it in the camcorder case, and he leaves it in the truck. I want to take a picture of Harold Bell Wright's museum, Hunter. Here, I've got it going. You take a picture of me. It's going.
Okay, you got it going?
I got it going.
All right.
See if you can get me with it.
Okay. Okay, there's Brenda. She got down a little skinny mini. This is Harold Bell Wright's museum. Harold Bell Wright, Bell. Oh, there we go. Oh, that zoomed you up, okay. There she is. I bet there ain't nothing in it.
I bet there ain't either. I bet there's nothing going on down here either. Is it still going?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to turn it off for now. We're going to see if it's still going. This place used to be a pretty nice little place. They had built it up and had entertainment and everything down here. And now it looks like it's a ghost town almost. Now they're turning it into a big amusement park with roller coasters. I think the roller coaster part's going, but I really don't see. I don't think there's anybody in these buildings down here. I'm going to turn it off for now until we actually see if something is going on down here. If I can find the switch. There's Forest for the Scarecrows. We're here at Silver Dollar City, and this is Friday afternoon, September the 8th, I think it is. We're here for their fall festival. We went down to Mutton Hollow, but they were closed. So that's all now. We're going to go see an Amish house. They've got one set up here. Okay. Yeah, if we were in Africa, that'd be nice. You know what? I think we could make one like that. Looks like we should be out in the cornfield with all these shucks and stuff. I guess we should go over here and sit down and look at the program to see when the shows are.
Yeah.
Oh. I like it the way they got the little straw people with the pumpkins and that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me turn that.
And she made a brand new quilt pattern. Each square, you know, quilt squares, each square had a fourth of a circle in each corner with sharp things coming off of it. And Suki came to visit when that first one was done, and she said, "Why, Lucy Rose, a new quilt pattern. Is that supposed to represent," because quilts always represent something, "is that supposed to represent duck's feet?" She said, "Yes, Suki, those are duck's feet." When the quilt was...
Oh, that's okay, I can do it.
Yeah, so this ain't even a hand-me-down. This is a rip him off. But it's such a good story, I don't care. My husband's grandfather was a farmer turned circuit-riding Baptist preacher. He preached down in north central Texas, there out in the country in big towns like Anna and Van Alstyne and Howe and McKinney. McKinney's a big town now. It used to be a white place in the road. Well, you know what that means. You have one church on that Sunday, and you church in the morning and the evening, and then you have another church on the next Sunday. And if there happens to be one of them months when there's 5 Sundays in the month, that 5th Sunday you have a gospel singing and a baptizing down at the creek, and their creek was at Iverson. So, well, one year, it happens every few years, Sunday night church chanced to fall on Halloween. Happens ever so often. Well, Grandpapa was there in the church by himself. He'd already preached and everybody had gone. And he was sitting there doing the rest of his job. He was sitting there waiting for the fire to burn down so he could cover up the coals with ashes, not take a chance on burning the church down. It cuts into your income. Well, he was sitting there and he was puffing on his little curly pipe that he smoked for years and years that my husband still has. And he was sitting there and he was reading through his copy of Railway Through the Word. He was preaching out of that quarter. And after a while he paused, closed the book, checked the fire. Yeah, that'd do. And he scooped some ashes over it. And he blew out that last lamp he'd been reading by. And he walked to, oh, it was dark that night. Oh, man, it was darker than the inside of a cow. See, that's dark. And he walked over to the door and the wind whooshed in. And he turned up his coat collar against the wind and he locked up that door with that big old iron church key that he had to return to the deacons. Yeah, the iron ring on the end of that key was just exactly the right size for popping the top off a can of motor oil. Oh. Now, what did you think he was popping the top off? Yeah, well, that's why they call him that. Church key. Yeah. Well, he locked up that door, and he knew from where he was at the church, there was 2 little hollers, or what passes for a holler in north central Texas, and 2 little rises until he got to the deacon's house where he was going to spend the night and go home the next morning. Well, he turned around and tried to see and waited for his eyes to adjust, and they weren't adjusted. He's like, good Lord, how am I going to find the house? Then he realized it was the glow of the pipe that was throwing him. Gave him an idea. He pulled out his can of Prince Albert that he'd smoked until he died, and he packed some more tobacco down in that pipe and puffed it up good, and then he turned it upside down, and by the glow of that pipe, once his eyes adjusted, he could see just barely the ground in front of him. And he found the edge of that dark, dirt, honest to goodness, dirt road. We ain't got them around here. We got field flag rocks. Over in Oklahoma, we used to have to put gravel on the road. Around here, they grade them trying to get rid of it. But he found the edge of that dirt road, and he started out a-walking right along the edge of the road because he could see it by the glow of his pipe. But he hadn't took but 10 or 12 steps when he heard something coming up behind him in the dark. And he real quickly stepped off the road to get out of the way and looked back along the road, but he couldn't see nothing. And it was so dark that night, and there was live oak trees, and of course the live oak trees never do lose their leaves. He couldn't even see it silhouetted against the sky. But it was okay because he couldn't hear it no more. And he thought, well, must have been a night bird. So he stepped back on the road and he started to walk. Took about 10 more steps and he heard it again. And he jumped off the road and he looked back, but he couldn't see nothing. Not nothing. And it puzzled him because he couldn't hear any sound he recognized. He couldn't hear that distinctive clip-clop, clip-clop, clip-clop. It wasn't a horse. And Lord, this was years before WD-40. Every wagon in North Texas squeaked like a lost soul at that type point in time. And he couldn't hear no engine running, so it couldn't be one of them newfangled automobiles. Well, he couldn't figure out what it was. So he stepped back onto the road and he started to walk. He didn't take but about 4 steps, and all the hair on the back of his neck stood straight up because he heard it again. It was right behind him. And he jumped off the road, and something big and black rolled up beside him, stopped. It's an automobile. Well, you know how it is. When something startles you like that, you start figuring out reasons that things could be. I said, well, this is just one of the deacons of the church, and he's took one of the sisters of the church home into Iverson, and now he stopped by to give me a lift. Ain't that nice? And of course, he doesn't have the lanterns lit. There ain't but about 3 cars in this whole part of Texas. Ain't gonna hit nobody, and he's coasting down this hill to save gasoline. Yeah. So he stepped over and he unlocked the back door and he opened it up. He got in close, leaned forward to thank the driver, and he was all alone in that car. And without a sound, the sucker started to move slowly uphill. He knew they weren't coasting no more. Well, Granddaddy's sitting there just white-knuckling the edge of that seat, and they rolled slowly up that hill, past the iron fence that had been installed a century before at exactly the right angle to frighten children on a night like this. And they rolled right up in front of the gate of the burying ground that was right there hard by the church. And he rolled up in front of that gate and said, Bethlehem Cemetery, spelled out in mule shoes that they made. And it rolled up there and stopped. Well, said Granddaddy, I guess this is where I'm supposed to get out. And he slipped over to the other side and he opened up that door and he slipped off that horsehair seat and he closed that door, and then he heard something behind him. As he started to back away from that spooky, haunted car, he heard something back over there going, it sounded big, breathing just behind him. And the guy, he was going, he couldn't figure out what it was, but he wanted to get away from that car too. So he's backing and he's looking, and he's backing and he's looking, and back and forth, and he was still back there going. And finally he backed through that gate, under the archway, and behind that biggest monument right there in the front of the graveyard. And he looked to the left one more time, and there was one of the deacons of the church leaning on that big old monument going. And he said, Brother Ben, son, don't go near that car. There's something wrong with it. And Brother Ben said, I know, Brother John. I've been pushing the dadgum thing more than a mile.
See if I can get a close-up. Oh, that's as close as I'm going to get. You want the hearse and all of it? This is the stagecoach. This is the old soft trail stagecoach. This is neat. Oh, that is closer. Okay. This is the Amish house they set up there. It's almost like an Amish cabin. It's really not that much of a house. They've got a lot going on at $7 today.
Okay. Anyway, plus one of my favorites was a guy named Gene Autry. Now, he became famous after riding his horse on that very stage for the first time out of the hayride. Folks, we're going to take you back to those golden years of Louisiana and the grassroots of our nation. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we revisit the Louisiana hayride. Come on, everybody!
special. How about one more great big hand for this wonderful band? They're working hard for you. Right now, friends, I'd like to pay tribute with a song that I wrote and recorded to the most recognized lady to ever come out of South Louisiana. In Cajun French, we call her Jolie Blonde. Translated, that means beautiful blonde.